Hey everybody, welcome to No Bones About Wrestling. I'm your host, Asa, and I'm here, of course, with Kay Fabulous.
Hey.
And this is WWE Weekly. It is September 10th, 2023, and we're going to talk about the week that was in WWE. And maybe talk a little bit about the week that's about to be. So first, what do we want to get at? Go right into the match results. What do you say?
Yeah.
WWE Monday Night Raw, September 4th, was in Charlotte, North Carolina, not too far from us. And the Viking Raiders beat Drew McIntyre and Matt Riddle. Ricochet beat Shinsuke Nakamura by disqualification. Shayna Baszler beat Zoe Stark by submission. Raquel Rodriguez pinned Chelsea Green. JD McDonough pinned Sami Zayn, and Intercontinental Champion Gunther successfully defended his title, pinning Chad Gable, and that was the match of the night. That was the match of the week. That was the match of the month. Gunther over Chad Gable. On SmackDown, September 8th, they were in Boston, Massachusetts. Shotzi and Charlotte Flair beat Bayley and Io Sky. LA Knight pinned Austin Theory. Undisputed Tag Team Champions Finn Balor and Damian Priest beat the Brawling Brutes in a non-title match. And AJ Styles pinned Jimmy Uso in the main event, and that was the match of the night also. So, Kay, what do we want to go to? Talk about some news?
Sure.
Always nice to talk about some news items. Let's see, what's in the news? One of the top stories, of course, it's been all over WWE programming, is it's Gunther. He breaks the 35-year-old record of the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion in history. It was the Honky Tonk Man from Memphis, Tennessee. He had the belt for 456 days, and Gunther has now had it for 457 days, and is the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion ever.
Actually, he had it for 454 days, and Gunther broke the record at 455, but as of recording today,
it's been
457.
Thank you. He had it for 454, so Gunther now has had it for 457. He broke it at 455 a couple days ago.
Saturday he broke it, I believe.
Okay. And so he broke it at 455, and now we're at 457 today. And tomorrow night on Raw will be 458, and they will be celebrating on Monday Night Raw.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what kind of celebration Nazis like Imperium throw.
They're bring those Nazi banners out again.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
They stopped using those. Did you notice that?
Yeah. Well, that's because everyone said they were. Yeah. I'm not sure what kind of celebration they're going to have, but I think it's going to look something like the end of Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope, which looked very much like Triumph of the Will. But yeah, Gunther deserves it. I mean, he's a heck of a wrestler. He's had only one loss since moving up to the WWE main roster, and that was he lost to Chad Gable. By countout, wasn't it? Or by disqualification? What was it, the other?
I believe it was countout.
Countout, yeah. A couple weeks back.
Didn't he have a tie with Gable, also a time limit draw?
I don't recall.
They had like a 5-minute match or something like that.
5-minute match. Oh, it was like you can't last 5 minutes with me. Yeah, it was technically a draw, yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, one draw, one loss since he's been called up. Both to Gable.
Do you think Gable should be the one to eventually dethrone him? Because, like, I'm really excited. So I love watching Gunther matches, and they're always exciting. but I knew he was going to win every time because I knew they were going to have him break Honky's record so that people would stop saying Honky in association with WWE.
Yeah.
And so now I don't know if he's going to win every match, and it's just going to make his matches so much more exciting, and I'm so excited to see them.
Will Chad Gable be the one to break the record? I don't know. Does he deserve it? Yeah. Do other people deserve it more? I don't know. Would it be someone like an LA Knight to come along and do it? I could see that, definitely. They're gonna, the word on the internet is they're gonna push LA Knight to the moon.
Mega push is what I read.
Yeah, we'll see about that. Internet has been wrong about that many, many times in the past. I've heard that.
I read it on Wrestling Observer. That's not the internet, but
the Wrestling Observers,
they're
generally right.
Yeah.
They're generally right.
What else we got in the news?
Let's see. Rapper Cardi B, Jesus, says she would love to fulfill her dream of appearing for WWE, not in ring. She just wants to do something.
Yeah. She said probably not in ring. She said she doesn't think she wants to do what Bad Bunny does.
Yeah.
But she was asked about WrestleMania 40 being in Philadelphia. That's how it came up.
Philadelphia.
Yeah. That's how it came up. And so she's apparently a fan and would love to perform. So maybe we'll see her at WrestleMania 40.
Gross. Keep her away.
The more new faces you can bring to the WWE, like Bad Bunny, I think, was good for the WWE. Not just because he put on a good performance, but I mean, he got new eyes on the WWE. Like, if you're trying to grow your product, that's a good way to do it.
Yeah, but keep this thing away. I've heard her before. She's a trash person. Keep her far away from the product.
Oh, I don't know her.
Always talking about bitch this and bitch that and my coochie, and she's just a foul person.
Oh.
Just keep her away. That's all I have to say about it.
Okay.
Let's see. Drew McIntyre, when talking about contractual stuff, said, quote, "I don't plan on being anywhere other than WWE." That was an interview for the Hindustan Times. Of course, WWE, they did the Superstar Spectacle in India the other day, and Drew McIntyre was doing press. So that makes it sound like maybe the contract is already done or is close to being done.
I think it's close. I think in that interview he said that it wasn't done yet, but he just had read so much online about people positing where he would go and whatnot, and he just wanted to make it clear that he doesn't really have any intentions of leaving WWE. He said he's not thinking about the past or the future right now. He's just living in the present.
It would be hard. If he went to AEW, they would have to make him the man. I mean, they'd have to make him like number one.
They'd have to like strip him down and rebuild him because he doesn't fit in AEW. He's like an action figure, you know?
Mm-hmm. No, they'd have to make him number one over. I mean,
it would be like
slaughtering. They got Bryan Danielson, and he'd be slaughtering little Bryan Danielson.
Yeah. Well, like, I feel like you'd have to, how like when you leave a cult, you have to be like deprogrammed.
Yeah.
I feel like they'd have to essentially deprogram him as a wrestler and then reprogram him to fit the AEW style because he's like so WWE through and through.
It'd be interesting if he went to AEW, but
apparently that's not happening.
Apparently it's not happening, so we need to stop. I didn't see it happening in the first place.
No, me either.
Just like we're saying, he just doesn't fit. I don't see WWE letting him get away. He's such a big star around the world for them. I mean, everybody loves Drew McIntyre. It's hard to find somebody who doesn't like Drew McIntyre.
Yeah.
I mean, he's good in the ring, good on the mic. He's likable.
Got a fun gimmick.
Yeah. Scottish badass with a sword.
With a sword, yeah.
How do you not like him? As I mentioned a minute ago, LA Knight and WWE finalizing a new long-term contract. So it looks like LA Knight is finally going to get the push that the internet has said is coming for several months.
Mm-hmm.
So he's been getting a push here lately. He's definitely super over. He's getting chance at AEW shows now.
I've been hearing LA Knight is going to get a push since before WrestleMania.
Yeah.
It's been for forever.
He didn't even have a match at WrestleMania, though.
No.
That was a shame.
Because remember, everyone thought it was going to be Bobby Lashley versus LA Knight when Bobby Lashley and Bray Wyatt fell through. So
if he gets a push, what does that mean to you? What do you want to see?
He needs a belt. And since he's on SmackDown, I guess he needs the U.S.
Well, Ray has that.
I know.
So you'd have to do a three-way
yeah.
to get it off him. LA Knight and Ray and some heel.
I'd rather see Ray...
Like Jimmy Uso. You could do LA Knight and Ray and Jimmy Uso in a three-way.
That'd be cool. I'd rather see him have a good feud with someone. I really want to see LA Knight versus Karrion Kross.
Mm-hmm.
And them have a good feud.
Yeah.
Because I think that they're not doing anything with Karrion's character either, and it's interesting, and so it would be nice for them to do something with the interesting people they have.
Why not have Rey Mysterio have a little feud with Karrion Kross? Have Karrion Kross win the United States title, and then have LA Knight chase him for the United States title. I think that'd be best.
That's what I was going to say. I don't really want it to be a three-way. I want him to have a feud building up to it, and so I need Ray to lose it to someone first.
Yeah.
And so Karrion is what I'd like to see.
He hadn't been around lately.
No.
I don't know why. I don't know if he's injured or they just don't have anything for him. Or I was enjoying him when he was on TV. I always enjoyed him. I liked him. He and Scarlett.
Why are you saying her name like that?
There's this comedian, God, what the fuck's his name? There's this comedian, and he has this bit where he was at some function, some party, some Hollywood party with Scarlett Johansson, and he couldn't believe he was there with Scarlett Johansson. So the whole night he kept seeing her, and he kept getting drunker and drunker, and every time he saw her, he kept being like, Scarlett!
It's really weird.
He said, I don't think it put me, in her good graces, really.
Yeah.
Hannibal Buress, that's who it was, the comedian Hannibal Buress.
I like him a lot.
Yeah.
So anyway, what other news do we have?
Well, the Endeavor deal is expected to close this week. And I think this is pretty big news because no one's quite sure how they're going to run the company. It remains to be seen what changes are going to happen, and they have not said. But WWE and UFC are going to be merged into one entity called TKO something or other. TKO Enterprises, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But TKO something. And probably would have helped if we got the full name. But that's what they're going to be called. It's TKO. And I don't think they're going to be sharing an office, but...
like WWE's headquarters will still be in Connecticut?
I'm assuming, but I don't know. And like I said, nobody knows what's changing, who's getting fired, who's not, etc. Nobody knows what's happening yet, but they're taking over very soon here, so there's going to be some changes.
Well, usually, once you take over, when mergers are happening, after the merger is finalized, then they send in people to evaluate the company they've acquired, and then start eliminating people.
Yeah. So this is my chance to become a writer, so if anyone from Endeavor is listening, DM me. No Bones Wrestling. DM me for my contact info. I'm ready. I'm ready to move to Connecticut tomorrow, okay?
You hate the cold.
I'm ready to move to Connecticut tomorrow. I can do it.
What about my class?
You'll be fine.
What else we got?
But no, for real, that is a big deal. So we don't know with creative, it seems, Vince McMahon said the only reason he's still around is to oversee this. So it seems like if Vince is a man of his word, he'll be going away. We'll see if that happens. Triple H has allegedly been second in charge of creative, under Vince. Vince has had final word. But Triple H hadn't really been in charge. I think Kevin Dunn has had a lot to do with things. But Triple H has had a lot to do with things as well, of course. It's not like I know for sure how much he or Kevin Dunn has to do. It's just my thoughts based on what I know from the past of WWE, how things have run in the past. But yeah, so who will be in charge under Endeavor? That's anybody's guess. I'm sure they'll talk to Vince McMahon quite a bit and decide who will be in charge of creative and in charge of television production. It's going to be very interesting to see how things shake out and how many wrestlers they get rid of and how the television shows change and whether they stay. They'll almost certainly change in a couple years here, they'll almost certainly change from the premium live event model back to the pay-per-view model, which sucks, because I think it's a really good deal getting the Peacock. This is not a paid advertisement. I think it's a great deal getting the Peacock subscription, and you get all those shows and WWE Network and the premium live events. I mean, it's a great deal.
Oh, it's a fantastic
I think people love it, so why not keep that? But anyways, I think they're going to go away from that and do pay-per-views again.
Well, last I read, they have another 2 years in their contract with Peacock, so it'll be 25 unless they want to violate their contract, which I don't think they're going to do.
Other news, the manager, former wrestler as well, best known as General Adnan, passed away at the age of 84. So it's good to see a wrestling personality live to an old age for a change. But yeah, he was Iraqi, I believe. Definitely played in Iraqi when Sergeant Slaughter became a turncoat in 1990-91 and became, an Iraqi sympathizer. General Adnan was right there, and he was Sergeant Slaughter's manager, and that's probably how he was best known to WWE, WWF fans. And he claimed he went to high school with Saddam Hussein and shit like this, and they did quite a bit about Saddam Hussein and the Iraqi army and the Iraq War. Desert Storm, not the first Iraq War. Man, stuff that would never fly today in this PC climate that we have now.
He moved to the United States originally to play football for the University of Houston in the 1950s.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. He was from Iraq.
Was from Iraq, thank you. I thought he was actually from Iraq.
Yeah, he was born in Baghdad.
Other news, Hacksaw Jim Duggan was admitted to the hospital Friday. He underwent emergency surgery on Saturday morning. His wife Deborah posted that surgery went well and he will be on his feet soon. The nature of the surgery was not listed by the family. But whatever it is, it's not our business. But hopefully Hacksaw will be swinging 2x4s and American flags very soon and back on his feet, and hopefully he heals well and has his family by his side and does great and all that.
Is that all for
Which
the
is
news?
It's strange because it's just yesterday we were watching Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Yeah, we did for Halloween Havoc 1994.
Yeah, if you missed us, we did. You missed all my advertising. Yesterday was the day we watched WCW Halloween Havoc 94, and if you missed it, you're dead to me.
If you missed it, it's on YouTube, so you can still watch it.
Yeah, and you're dead to me. But you can still watch it, but you're dead to me.
Jeez.
But yeah, so we watched Halloween Havoc 94, and we had fun, and we talked about it, and talked about old wrestling, and talked a little about today's wrestling, and made fun of some things a bit. Saw some not so great wrestling, saw some great wrestling, saw some great matches. So there are 8 matches. I'd say probably 6 of them were good. Very fun show. Halloween themed. Johnny B. Bad, for instance, came out in a cape with the glitter in the sequins on his cape. There was like a spider's web, and his trunks he had sequins like a spider web, and he came out with vampire teeth in, and it was just a fun time had by all. And at one point, Jerry Sags went to pile drive somebody, and he didn't pile drive them on the jack-o'-lantern, but his big fat ass sat on the jack-o'-lantern, but the jack-o'-lantern exploded one way or the other all over the ring. So it was just a fun time. Main event was Hulk Hogan versus Ric Flair in a loser must retire steel cage match with Mr. T as the guest referee. So that was a fun one. That was the match of the night to me. We had Dylan from Last Week in Wrestling join us. I think he said his favorite match was maybe Dustin Rhodes versus Arn Anderson, which may have been the best technical match of the evening.
Mine was the Nasty Boys.
Yeah, but the most fun match was the Hogan and Flair. There was so much shit happening and so many people invading the cage. That was a wild match. I don't know how you didn't pick Hogan and Flair.
Yeah, if you missed it and you want to join us live next time, we'll announce soon when the next date's going to be and which Halloween Havoc it will be. We
will, and we're going to set it very soon, yep.
So is that it for the news for this week for WWE?
That is it for the news. So
do you want to talk a little bit about some storylines?
Let's talk about some storylines. Well, I do have another piece of news. Matt Riddle.
I was wondering if you had seen that. I just saw it, yeah.
Came through, JFK?
JFK, yeah.
And accused a police officer of sexual harassment. Claimed that he was sexually harassed. And
well, it's like sexual assault. He was
sexually assaulted.
Yeah. He was claiming that he was touched inappropriately after he said no.
Yeah.
But he has since dropped the charge.
Did he?
There is an internal investigation going on anyway because the charge was made. Initially, the police were contacted because there was an individual causing a scene, deplaning, and that individual turned out to be Matt Riddle. They said that, he didn't make the allegation while he was there. He did it on social media. And they said that, there was no indication that there was a problem when he was leaving. This is the police department that said that. And so they felt like the social media post was out of nowhere, but it has started an internal investigation to see what exactly happened.
Strange.
Yeah.
So, he took it back.
Yeah.
Matt Riddle. Well, what the fuck? What the fuck happened then?
This is according to TMZ because it just happened, so I don't really know. I don't often use them as a source. I don't really know how reliable they are.
Well, I saw his post, and it was pretty emphatic that something happened. How are you that emphatic, and then you take it back?
It could be that TMZ is incorrect about him taking it back, but that's what they reported.
Well, I think
he has since deleted that post.
Weird.
Yeah.
Weird. Well, that's the end of the news. So yeah, Drew McIntyre and Matt Riddle have been teaming up as a tag team lately with mixed success. They lost to the Viking Raiders this week. Viking Raiders have been on a winning streak. They're kind of Triple H's boys.
Which is weird because they were on a losing streak prior to this winning streak. They didn't have a mixed time, where they were winning some and losing some. It's they're either losing all of them or winning all of them.
But yeah, they're on a winning streak now. They're kind of being portrayed as unbeatable, giant beast men kind of things. They've won 2 in a row now on what is obviously going to be a winning streak. Shinsuke Nakamura lost to Ricochet by DQ, but Nakamura is still up there on Raw, that is. But Nakamura is still up there as a championship contender. Do we think we're going to see Nakamura against Rollins again? Because he put up a fight against Seth and, tried to hurt his back and targeted his back and all that stuff, told us about how he was going to cripple Seth and how he wouldn't be able to play with his children and all that stuff. Yeah. And it seemed like that stuff built up to more than one pay-per-view match,
Yeah. I mean, if I was Seth, I wouldn't want to wrestle him again. Someone's threatening to make it so I can't pick up my children, and you beat him. I wouldn't want to have to do it all again. I don't know. Plus, I feel like, isn't there, a line waiting? Shouldn't he have to go to the end of the line now that he missed his opportunity? Or do you think we're going to get a series?
I don't know. Seth didn't wrestle this week.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. I guess he got the week off or something. But he didn't wrestle anybody this week. So, it's hard to say where they're going with the WWE title.
Did Jay indicate that he might be interested in going after that title when he...
Jey Uso?
Jey Uso, yeah.
I don't know if he indicated it, but I'm sure that's something his character would be. He's called Main Event Jey Uso, and he just showed up on the show. I'm sure he'd love to go after the world title.
Yeah.
World heavyweight title. I don't know if he's going to go after it since he's a babyface and Seth Rollins is also a babyface. I don't know if he's going to go after it right now.
Yeah.
But I think once Rollins loses it, I think one of the first contenders will be Jey Uso.
I think give Shinsuke another go at it then,
Yeah.
He's a good heel. And
Yeah,
he was just getting his heel juices flowing,
Well, because who else would there be? You could get Gunther, could get a run. That's my only other thought. It's Gunther.
Well, you have the remaining member of the Judgment Day who hasn't had a shot at it yet.
Yeah.
Our hero, Dominic Mysterio. Yeah.
I could see doing Seth versus Dominic. I don't see why not.
I feel like the heat leading up to it would be awesome.
Yeah. I think that'd be fun to do. I think they could put on a good match.
Mm-hmm.
And the heat's there. I don't see giving Dominic the belt. Well, I don't see why not giving Dominic the belt either, though.
Oh my God, the fans would just explode. They would be irate.
Don't give it to him for long.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I don't give a fuck about the fans.
No, that would be awesome to see the fan reaction. Yeah. They would just be infuriated. No, I think I don't think this is going to happen. But if Dominic were to win it, yeah, short period, and then Jay takes it from him.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be doable, I think. That would be something to do, for sure. Have Judgment Day come in and have Dominic drop the North American title to somebody. Put somebody over on NXT.
I think that match you do a 3-way, so Dominic doesn't get pinned.
Yeah, right. You don't need him. Yeah. And then build it up. Have him versus Seth. Have somehow he wins some opportunity, cheats. Judgment Day cheats and gets him some opportunity. And it's Dominic versus Seth at Fastlane. Dominic wins the belt. And then, not his first defense, but maybe his second title defense, he loses to Jey Uso.
I think his first title defense would be fine,
No, let him have it. Let him have one.
Let him have one.
Let him have one.
Okay.
Let him have one, yeah. One successful defense, and then lose it to Jey Uso, and that'd be a nice way to get Jey Uso's character over, yeah.
Yeah.
And then you could do a Seth and Dominic not for the belt, and have Seth whoop him and get his win back, That's how I would do it anyway. Get his win back, get his heat back too.
Yeah.
And get one over on the Judgment Day. And then he doesn't have to have the belt to be over he's over.
Yeah.
That's how I would do it. So, what got us on all that? Oh, we're talking about Nakamura.
Nakamura, yeah.
That's how I would do it, and I think that'd be perfectly acceptable.
Yeah.
To do. Let's do it.
You hear that, WWE? Let's do it. What else you got storyline-wise?
What other storylines have we got? So, the Judgment Day, speaking of which, they're either stronger than ever or they're falling apart. It depends what minute you take a look at them, you know? So, we've got Dominic Mysterio, NXT North American Champion. We've got Damian Priest, Senior Money in the Bank, and one half of the Undisputed World Tag Champs. Finn Balor, one half of the Undisputed World Tag Champs. Rhea Ripley, the Women's World Heavyweight Women's World Champion. And then
in parentheses off to the side, you have JD McDonough.
And in parentheses, JD McDonough off to the side, who is winning some matches, who just beat Sami Zayn on Monday Night Raw.
That's a big win.
That's a big win.
Did they cheat for him to win? I don't remember.
Oh, yeah, I believe so.
Yeah,
I believe so. Yeah. I don't specifically remember, but I'm sure they did. But yeah, what do you think? So are the Judgment Day closer to being stronger than ever, or are they closer to breaking apart?
I feel like they're stronger than ever. I think that they're like teased the breaking apart for so long. I think JD McDonough's just going to be welcomed into the fold. Like, I feel like he's endearing himself to them. He's helped them get some big wins, you know? He played a big part at Payback. So yeah, I think stronger than ever. The belts reunited Damian and Finn and seem to have put aside whatever squabbles they had over Seth and the belt, you know, because it seems like both of them have changed their focus now that they have gold, you know, or silver. Those belts are silver.
I think something will happen with those tag belts that leads to Damian Priest leaving the group and turning face. And that leads to JD McDonough finally becoming a real member of the group.
Why not just have 5 members?
Because I just don't think they're going to do that. I think that's how they're going to do it is Priest leaving and McDonough coming in. That's what I see. So when do they do it? I don't know. And with who? With whom, rather?
You know it would be good if once the brand split is finally dead, because it's mostly dead now, but once it's finally dead...
It's not mostly dead. They keep to it for the most part.
Except for the Judgment Day.
The Judgment Day, you kind of go on whatever show they want. Well, not lately, but kind of.
Now they officially can, though, because they
just
got the
Balor and
Undisputed,
Priest.
Yeah.
Just Balor and Priest.
What would be nice if that does happen with the split is if Damian Priest joins the LWO. And then you could have Judgment Day, LWO super feud. Because you would get like Finn and Damian on opposite sides, and you got Mysterio versus Mysterio. I would like that.
That could be interesting. I don't know if I see him doing that, though. Joining a group that big. I kind of see him more doing his own thing. But almost every Latino seems to be joining that group, so...
That's not true.
That is true.
We got Humberto Carrillo, we got Angel
I said
Garza,
almost every. I said almost every Latino.
There's only 4 people in the group, or 5 people in the group.
I think, well.
Yeah, there's 5 of them.
Okay. Yeah, so who would Balor and Priest drop the tag belts to?
I guess maybe the Viking Raiders. They're the only tag team that's been performing well recently, consistently.
Or do you do it to McIntyre and Riddle?
No.
No?
They're not.
Viking Raiders?
They're no RK Bro, you know? Like, I think they wanted them to be, and they're not there.
Yeah. You don't do it to the Brawling Brutes and kind of put them over, no?
People don't care about them enough. Not that people care about the Viking Raiders either, though, so... Who knows? Give them the New Day. I like belts on the New Day. They get to draw out their introduction, add a new number to their count for how many times they've been the tag team champs.
I think maybe we can do better than putting the belts on the New Day again.
Why? I like them.
I like them too, but I think there are newer stars around who could use, some gold.
That are in a tag team, an established tag team?
I think the Brawling Brutes would be a good team to put them on, Give them a run.
Or you give them to Imperium, and then Imperium becomes a super group.
That I could see that too. Yeah, Vinci and Kaiser. Mm-hmm. That could be a possibility.
They'd have to lose it to someone else first, though, wouldn't they? Because it's heels and heels.
You could just do a three-way. That's my answer always. It's hard to do a three-way with two heels and one face. That's tough. That doesn't work usually. You gotta have two. You gotta have two faces and a heel.
Fatal four-way.
Four-way, yeah. Two faces, two heels.
Mm.
You do like the Brawling Brutes and McIntyre and Riddle and the New Day, sure, and then Balor and Priest and Imperium.
I know you hate them, but if they're trying to put a new polish on the Street Profits, one, it would be nice if they had matches sometimes, and two, putting the belts on them would be a new way to reestablish. I forgot what's MVP's group called. I guess it's Bobby Lashley's group now. What are they called?
I forget.
The Hurt Business.
Hurt Business.
Yeah. There we go. And are they officially the Suit Profits now, or is that just what people are calling them?
I'll tell you what you could do is put the belts on the Street Profits and then use a super magnet
oh my God.
from outside the building to rip them through their waists and rip them in half.
Jesus Christ.
And then leave them lying there, cut in half.
Anyway.
I'm kidding, of course.
I just feel like if you're trying to establish them as a faction, that
I just don't like
something.
the Street Profits.
I know, but I'm just saying, if you want to give legitimacy to their group.
I'm not going to agree with giving anything to Street Profits.
Okay,
no.
okay.
I'm not going to,
Well, I'm right, so it's fine. Moving on. What other storylines you got?
What other
story?
Well, we're talking about Judgment Day and giving them belts, and what do we do with them? We're talking about Dominic and JD McDonough and all them, and so Gunther. How much longer does he keep the Intercontinental title, and who finally wins it from him?
I think he doesn't keep it very much longer.
Really?
Yeah.
It's somebody's turn, somebody's time to be put over.
That belt is too important to build people up for one person to have it for that long. And continue to have it. Like, he broke the record. That's a big enough deal. Let's move on from that.
Mm-hmm.
Although the same could be said for Roman, and he's still got those belts. So, who knows with the WWE.
But Roman hasn't broken the record yet. He's got like 5 more years.
Oh my God. I bet he will. He's going after San Martino.
Lord.
Oh my God. How old would he be at that point?
I don't know.
In his 50s, right?
Who? Roman?
8 years from now? Isn't he 40-something?
5 years from now.
Oh.
No, he's not 40-something.
Roman?
No.
Oh.
No. No, he's younger than that.
Oh. Well,
no, he's younger. So who? You're not answering me. Who?
I think Gable.
Gable? You don't think LA Knight?
No.
Gable.
I think Gable.
I say Gable or LA Knight.
I think LA Knight should get the US
LA Knight's on SmackDown, but you can figure out some way to do it. So, LA Knight's been on both shows. I feel like I saw him on Raw the other night, a couple weeks ago, wasn't he? He was.
Roman's 38. I was close with 40.
Okay, so he'll be 43 by the time he beats San Martino's record.
Mm-hmm.
If they're doing that.
Mm-hmm.
Ridiculous.
So you would have LA Knight win? Oh, you win it from him? That's who you would choose? I feel like he doesn't need it. Like, he's already so over.
No, but that would put him super over, Like, that would be a big win. It would be a big win, a historic win. Who ended the streak? Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But see, we don't talk about who ended Honky Tonk Man's streak.
That's because we don't talk about Honky Tonk Man.
Yeah, we've been talking about Honky Tonk Man a lot here lately.
Yeah, for the first time in like 34 of those 35 years.
Yeah. I think he lost it to the Ultimate Warrior. I could be wrong. Could be wrong about that, but I think he lost it to the Ultimate Warrior. See, but even I don't know who he lost it to. But yeah, I say either LA Knight or Gable. They've put on 2 matches with Gable. They made Gable's daughter cry.
Yeah.
Maybe Gable would be the one to do it now. Yeah, I'd got to go with Gable.
In the rubber match.
Build it up. And it's not even a rubber match. Oh, yeah, it is, because he won one, lost one. Yeah, build it up and have Gable win. Gable's over, and he's proven he can,
Plus Alpha Academy with the Intercontinental title. I think that's a good look.
Yeah, that'd be cool. All right, so we got a feud brewing. Asuka showed back up after an absence.
Yeah.
And she's coming after Io Sky in the women's, I'm trying to think what they call it, the WWE women's title, yeah.
My prayers have been answered. This is what I have wanted.
It's going to be a hot feud there.
Yeah, so
Asuka
ever since
and
Io had that match with Bianca in Puerto Rico, I have wanted Io and Asuka.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be awesome. And I hope that they, like, let it last a while, like it's not just a one-off.
Yeah.
But, like,
yeah.
I want a good feud.
I agree. Several matches out of it. Because
I want, like, yelling in Japanese and, like, really awesome moves in the ring. I cannot wait.
Yeah, I agree. And so she pretty much, Asuka showed up and grabbed the belt and danced around with it, as she does.
As she does, yeah.
But
dancing menacingly.
Yeah. But hopefully we'll see a bit more out of it than that. Let's see, what other... The Bloodline, we'll talk about now. The Bloodline, it's kind of on hold at the moment, isn't it?
Well,
it feels like it. We've got Jey Uso showing up on Monday Night Raw.
Yeah.
And Cody Rhodes said that he worked a deal and got Jey Uso traded to Raw for someone. We haven't learned whom yet. Someone's getting traded to SmackDown. We've got Jimmy Uso now on SmackDown with new music and seemingly looking to rejoin Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman and Solo in the Bloodline.
I feel like that's the big news.
Yeah.
What has been the point of the last, 5 months if he's just joining again?
Well, we got Jay free.
Yeah.
Got Jay free, and he and Sammy had a conversation the other night, where Sammy said, you finally made the right choice, and, did you see that? Or, he said, you finally made the right choice, and Jay was like, yeah, this and that, and Sammy went to shake his hand, and Jay kind of didn't. He said, that wasn't too oozy of me, was it? And then they hugged, I think, something like that, so... It was nice. So Jay finally came around to what Sammy had been trying to do for him. And Jay's a face now on Raw, and let's see where that goes. And
yeah, but Jimmy's
falling back, yeah.
Back into the fold.
So where's it leading? Do they know? Does WWE, do you feel like they know where it's leading?
No.
I don't either.
Whoever does the long-term planning...
Well, it's Paul Heyman and Michael Hayes, from what I've heard, are the ones doing a lot of the Bloodline stuff.
Do you think they went into the Bloodline with, a slight idea, and then once it got so popular and people loved it so much, they were like, oh, we better keep this going, and then have just been, flying by the seat of their pants since then?
No. I think they went in with a slight idea, and then it got popular, and then they made a longer-term plan.
Have they run out of that plan?
I don't know. It doesn't feel like it's going anywhere right now.
No.
But it is on pause as Roman, I assume Roman is on vacation. Maybe he's shooting a movie. I don't know what he's doing. He's not around. Doesn't seem from any advertisements or anything like he's going to be at Fastlane in October. So we'll see. He may be on Survivor Series. It's a big show. You'd think he'd be at Survivor Series.
Yeah. Well, he's a double champion. You'd think he'd be at every pay-per-view.
Yeah.
So, what you would think is not necessarily what is with Roman Reigns.
Yeah, that's why it's so crazy that it's like they're gonna make it last 8 years, and it's like, man, do you realize Bruno Sammartino was wrestling like every Friday night in Madison Square Garden and shit? Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Not every Friday night, but you get my point. Wrestling every Friday night somewhere.
Yeah.
For 8 years and kept the belt. And that was when, back then, he was like the Italians champion. That was when every race, every ethnicity, they had a champion. They had like an Irishman, they had an Italian, they had a Polish guy, they had a Hispanic guy, they would have a black guy on the card. Every ethnicity, that's the way pro wrestling used to work up in the Northeast, at least, is they would have the ethnicities kind of represented on the show. And so every ethnicity would have their own quote-unquote champion, for which to cheer. And Sammartino was kind of the Italians' champion, and became the champion of everyone for 8 years. And during his first or second, I think it was his second reign with the WWF title.
WWF? 3 W's?
Yeah. It used to be the Worldwide Wrestling Federation, the WWF, Worldwide Wrestling Federation. And then they changed to the World Wrestling Federation, WWF.
So I have one more storyline question for you.
Okay.
Unless you have other ones we need to talk about. I was going to ask about
I wasn't done talking about the Bloodline.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, so where does it pick up? What do you think? Roman comes back. What happens? What do you think?
I have no idea.
Yeah.
I've been wrong every time I've thought something about the Bloodline, so I've kind of stopped thinking about the Bloodline.
Okay.
Does Roman? It's not possible to predict, and not in a fun way. AEW is hard to predict because they surprise you all the time, but it's fun surprises. This is irritating surprises. Oh, Jimmy's joining the Bloodline again. I didn't see that coming, but it sucks. It's not fun surprises.
I see.
So I have no idea, and I honestly don't really care about the
Bloodline. I see. You've lost your...
they've lost me.
I've lost a lot of my... Honestly, I don't care so much about the Bloodline story anymore.
Plus, the only interesting part of it that was left was, brother versus brother, and now they've separated the brothers, and so... Who cares?
I know you love brother versus brother shit.
Yeah, I love sibling rivalries.
But yeah, the Bloodline stuff, I don't... It just, it's, to be honest, I know a lot of people are way still on and still very interested. Yeah, I mean, it's very popular. Yeah, still.
I knew it was. I didn't know that it still was.
Yeah. But, they've lost a lot of my interest. I mean, Roman keeps going away, and, and like you said, Jimmy isn't with the Bloodline. Now he is with the Bloodline, and it doesn't make any damn sense. And you can't convince me that it makes any damn sense.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to do a lot to convince me that Jimmy Uso going back to the Bloodline makes sense now.
As soon as he super kicked his brother, after he pulled him off Roman when he was about to win in the tribal combat, that is the moment when I was done. Because that made no sense. And even when they tried to explain it, it still logically made no sense. So, I'm done with the story.
Yeah, I've lost a lot of my interest in it. Like I said, Roman keeps going away. It's hard to maintain interest when the champion keeps coming and going, and it's hard to even think of him as the champion when he's not around. Like, I think of Seth as the champion.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't think of Roman as the champion even. I think of him as a part-timer.
He's become like Brock Lesnar.
I think of him as more of as a Hollywood guy that comes and goes. I don't even think of him as a champion, really.
Is he in stuff, though?
I think he's in the Fast and the Furious, and he was in a movie
Oh.
called Hobbs and Shaw. Yeah, he's...
Roman Reigns was?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. And he's been in more than that, I think, but I'm not sure. But I know he's been in like 2 movies at least, and I think more. So I don't know why he keeps going away. Could be for vacation.
I hope he's well. I hope it's not.
Yeah, it may be sickness. I don't know. I don't think his
planned.
cancer's come back or anything.
No,
yeah, it's planned. Yeah. So. Yeah, I don't think he needs to physically leave. So I don't think it's anything like that.
That's good.
Yeah. All right, that's enough with storylines.
Wait, no, answer my question. What are they going to do with John Cena? What do you think? Where is this going?
Oh, I'm not sure.
Is doing Cena and The Miz? Is that...
They're doing Cena and The Miz.
What's up with that?
I don't know.
Like, what the hell?
I thought they would do something more meaningful with Cena coming back.
Yeah.
I told you my thing. I said do Cena versus Reigns.
Mm-hmm.
I said let's do Bloodline, whatever. I don't care. You can still do it with.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need Roman to have the belts for 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
He's had them long enough. Let's have a story. Let's have Cena versus Reigns. Put it on SmackDown. Put it on fucking television for people to see. Big match. John Cena versus Roman Reigns. Advertise it for like 2 weeks, 3 weeks. You don't think people would love that? People would love to see John Cena versus Roman Reigns in a big match. You know, put it in a steel cage or something like that, and have Cena win his 17th world title. Just make some history. Have a big event happen. Make something happen. Have some fun. John Cena's around. He's your guy. You built him to have 16 world titles. Have him beat the damn record and make it big. Have him beat Roman Reigns. You can do it. It's at your control. Do something while he's around. While you got these 2 stars. Do it. That's what I say.
I like it.
Yeah, that's what I say. All right, you want to do what we got? Rankings? All right. We're men, women, tag team first?
Tag team first.
Tag teams. All right. We have a secret ranking system that we'll never tell you, but we rank the top 5 independently, and then we put them together, and we give you our top 5 men rankings, our top 5 women rankings, and our top 5 tag team rankings.
Men's tag teams.
Men's tag teams, yes, since the women's tag teams don't stay together long enough to really rank them. And there aren't usually 5 around, unfortunately, either. So, men's tag teams, number 5 this week. Down 2 spots from number 3, Austin Theory and Grayson Waller. Number 4, making their debut on the list, Drew McIntyre and Matt Riddle. Number 3, making their debut on the list, the Brawling Brutes, Butch and Ridge Holland.
I thought Glassbro was on 2 weeks ago.
Were they?
Yeah.
They might have been on 2 weeks ago.
They were on 2 weeks ago, yeah.
Okay. Brawling Brutes are making their debut on the list.
Yes, yeah.
Number 3. Number 2, staying number 2 from last week, the Viking Raiders. Like I said, they're on a winning streak. Number 1, your undisputed World Tag Team Champions, Finn Balor and Damian Priest of the Judgment Day. So we got Balor and Priest, Viking Raiders, Brawling Brutes, McIntyre and Riddle, Theory and Waller.
What about the men?
Men, number 5, staying at number 5 from last week, L.A. Knight. Number 4, making his debut on our top 5, surprisingly, AJ Styles. He just hasn't been around. Number 3, back on the list, Gunther, the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion. Number 2, remaining number 2, Roman Reigns, the undisputed Universal Champion. And number 1, the WWE World Champion, Seth Rollins. So we got Rollins, Reigns, Gunther, Styles, and LA Knight. And the top 5 women this week, number 5, making her debut on our top 5, is Zoe Stark. Number 4, up 1 spot from number 5, is Raquel Rodriguez. Number 3, making her debut on the list, I believe, is Shayna Baszler.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, up 1 spot from number 3, is the WWE Women's Champion, Io Sky. And number 1, staying number 1, a dominant champion, is the Women's World Champion, Rhea Ripley of the Judgment Day. So you got Ripley, Io Sky, Baszler, Rodriguez, and Stark. There's your top 5. All right, and we have our topic of the week. So this week, the topic is managers. Wrestling managers.
Yeah.
So, Kay, what do you have to say? Start us off on the topic of wrestling managers.
Well, I think this is a great topic, first of all, because it came up in conversation earlier in the week with us. I feel like managers, it was from watching Halloween Havoc and seeing all these awesome managers that were such fantastic characters and played such a great role in the matches that they were in, or that they were supporting. And WWE doesn't do that anymore. And I feel like AEW does a pretty good job with it. But it's like it's a lost art in WWE. Mm-hmm. I mean, Paul Heyman is the only manager. Paul Heyman and MVP. They're the 2 managers that I can think of. Am I missing anyone?
That's all I can think of in WWE.
And I can't even tell you the last time I saw MVP.
Yeah. Actually managing. He manages Omos when he wrestles.
Yeah. Was he still with the Hurt Business?
Who?
MVP. Or did Bobby Lashley take that from him?
I think Bobby Lashley just took it from him because MVP hasn't been coming out with them.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I just feel like it's almost like the valets, like it's gone out of fashion. But I feel like, unlike the valets, managers played such an integral role in the storylines. So who are some of the ones
you're talking about that you
Well, Jim Cornette comes to mind when I think of managers. Colonel Parker, Mr. Fuji, Jimmy Hart.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just like big personalities.
Yeah.
That dude who was Red, what was his name?
Who was Red?
Yeah.
Brother Love.
Brother Love. I mean, and then, not to talk about AEW on WWE Weekly, but I'm going to. They have, like, Prince Nana, who's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
The Kingdom has Maria Kanellis-Bennett, who's awesome at her job. We got Alex Abrahantes. We got Jose, the assistant.
Mm-hmm.
Who am I forgetting? We got another big one.
Mark Sterling.
Mark Sterling, that's who it was. Smart Mark Sterling. Oh, and Don Callis.
Don Callis.
That's what I was saying. It was Don Callis. And so, like, big personalities that I feel like really help get their wrestlers over.
Jake the Snake.
Like, think about, like, Takeshita, for example. His heel heat was, like, instant. And it wasn't because of anything he did. It's because they put him with Don Callis. And everyone fucking hates him.
Yep.
So, like, it's such a good tool to have in your tool belt. And WWE is just, like, not even thinking about it.
And WWE has such a history with managers, though. I mean, they had some of the best. Paul Bearer.
Yeah.
For one.
Mm-hmm. Again, like a huge character.
Yeah. Literally and figuratively
yes,
a huge character.
Yeah. I mean, I just don't... One, I'm interested to, like, research and find, like, when did they stop using them? Like, when did that sort of fall out of favor? And after watching so much old wrestling, like, why would you stop that?
I'd say kind of like the Attitude Era really knocked managers out.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure why.
It's because they're like an authority figure?
I guess, maybe, yeah. Yeah, because then who needs somebody to speak for you? You can speak for yourself, yeah.
I mean, I guess Bayley is...
People would have valets. They would have hot chick valets, but not managers much anymore in WWF.
I guess, like, with the factions in WWE, like, some of the leaders of the factions could be seen as, like, the manager role. But they're also wrestling, so I feel like that doesn't count. Like, Bayley with Damage Control.
That doesn't count.
It doesn't count, right?
No.
What are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, it's a lost start. As a former manager, I actually was for a short time. I was a manager in an independent wrestling promotion called New Dimension Wrestling. I was a character named Shane McFly. So as a manager, I can tell you it is a lost art, and I do miss it. And as a kid growing up, going to independent shows, a lot of times there was a manager who was my favorite character. His name was Dr. Lee Love. L-U-V. Dr. Lee Love. And his stable was called the Love Connection. And I loved them. And they were the bad guys. They were the worst guys, the worst heels. And he was this scrawny little guy with a mustache. And, you know, just thought he was the hottest shit. And he wasn't, but he acted like he was the shit, you know? And it was, I forget the name of the company, but it was this independent show we used to go to all the time. Yeah, Dr. Lee Love. And he was the best part of the show. Was this manager. And he would get on the mic and, you know, talk up his wrestlers. And, of course, go around ringside and tell everybody, you know, how they were redneck pieces of shit and they didn't have their teeth and this and that and the other. And, you know, this was in North Carolina. This was in, like, Thomasville, North Carolina is where we were. Where we were going to these matches. But just in seeing that and growing up with that and growing up with, on TV, managers like Paul Bearer, managers like Slick, managers like Sonny, you know, managers like Colonel Parker, Harley Race, who was a wrestling legend turned Vader's manager. Who's another manager we saw yesterday? When watching Halloween Havoc. There's got to be some more.
We saw Sherry. Is she a manager?
Sherry, yeah, valet / manager. Sensational Sherry.
Sensual Sherry is who
Sensuous.
Sensuous. I'm sorry.
Sherry. But yeah, a lot of times I like the managers better than the wrestlers.
Well, I feel like their personalities are bigger often, you know? Because I mean, they're the ones they're the mouthpiece.
Jim Cornette was one of my favorite, when I was a kid, was one of my favorite characters to hate. Because he's just such a piece of shit. Such a piece of garbage. A little weasel, you know? With his tennis racket and his awful suits, you know? Like his clashing color suits. Just doing everything he could to get his wrestler out of having to do anything, out of having to defend their title, you know. And these things, you know, it's missed when you have a manager doing it. It allows the wrestler a little more freedom to perform, because it allows them a little more leniency in going back and forth between face and heel, because they didn't do that dastardly thing. The manager did it. You know, they didn't do that evil thing. The manager did it. So that's one reason to have managers as heels, especially, is that way you can turn the heels back to faces, because you don't have the grudge, because they didn't do it. The manager did it, and the manager is still a heel.
Yeah.
And one manager, I could go on and on mentioning managers, but one I would be remiss if I didn't manage Bobby the Brain Heenan, one of the greatest managers of all time. Managed Rick Rude, managed Mr. Perfect, managed Andre the Giant, managed a ton of people. Met King Kong Bundy, just one of the best managers ever. And, he always would get heat for his guy and always just trying to keep his guy out of fights. And, Heenan would go in there and take bumps and just get the crowd going. And it's just one more tool in your chest to get heat for the match. And why WWE chooses today to not use that tool to get heat for the matches is beyond me. Why not have these characters to get more heat? I don't know.
Well, also to utilize them as a mouthpiece, because I think there are some people who their wrestling skills outshine their promo skills, and by having a manager take that banner up for them, it would allow their wrestling skills to shine more, because you wouldn't think, oh, they're okay, because you're remembering their bad promo that they did,
Right, exactly, yeah.
And I think, too, when there's like a language barrier, it can allow for more storytelling.
Like Alex Abrahantes with the Lucha Brothers, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, why WWE doesn't do it? I'm not sure today. Maybe just because the managers are such over-the-top figures, but it's not like they don't have over-the-top figures. They do have Viking Raiders with Valhalla.
But she wrestles.
Not frequently. Not frequently at all, though. She counts as a manager, I think.
And Maxine would count as a manager then.
Yeah.
Before, at least of the male models, before.
Yeah, she counts as a manager. But that's about it. I mean, I can't name any more.
And their managerial roles are quite small,
Yeah. I can't name any more. I'm looking at the roster and I'm looking at the results and can't name any other managers.
Yeah.
Can't name any off of these people who are... Paul Heyman, we already mentioned, and that's about it. But, yeah. Like, it can't just be because the characters are too over the top, because they've got over the top characters. They've got the damn Viking Raiders, They've got...
I feel like The Miz is an over the top character.
Yeah. I mean... They've already got over-the-top characters. Gunther and the fucking Nazis,
Yeah.
Imperium. They're over the top. The Brawling Brutes are pretty over the top as far as just being Irish stereotypes, Drinking, fighting Irishmen. It's not like they don't have outrageous characters, so why can't they have one on the outside as well? I don't understand. Is it just to save money? Because I think the managers add money to a feud.
Oh, absolutely.
Because they add just one more reason to wanting to see that heel get his ass beat. And not only wanting to see that heel get his ass beat, wanting to see that manager get his ass beat too, or her ass beat. Whichever,
Plus it gives you more people to sell merchandise for, Yeah. Like, I would buy a Prince Nana shirt. I love that man, you know? Yeah, it just seems... It seems odd. If you're going to cut corners because you're trying to save money, doing something that impacts the product so significantly seems like an odd choice. I wonder if when Endeavor takes over, if we'll see managers come back slowly, Because, in UFC, I'm assuming it's like boxing where they actually have a manager.
Right.
So maybe they'll want to make WWE more realistic sport-like and start bringing back managers, It's a possibility.
It is a possibility. I think they'll let the WWE people run WWE. I don't think they're going to come in and try and reinvent the wheel, I think they're going to think the wrestling people know what they're doing with wrestling. And
if they did, there'd be more managers.
Yeah.
um,
but in AEW we see more Prince Nana. I'm trying to think who else we mentioned.
Callis, Sterling,
yeah,
Alex Abrahantes, Jose the Assistant. We did have Stokely Hathaway before he went to Ring of Honor.
Before his brain broke.
Maria Kanellis Bennett.
Jake the Snake.
Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchard.
I wish Tully Blanchard were still around.
I know, me too.
I wonder if he's under contract still, or what.
He was at a different company.
Was he?
Yeah. I believe so.
Is Arn Anderson, what's he doing? He just introducing Brock to get squashed?
Yeah.
Arn Anderson was at our show. We went to introduce Brock to get beat by somebody on Collision. Luchasaurus?
I thought you meant our AML show for a second, and I was like, I don't remember Arn Anderson.
When we went to see Collision.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Anyway, so, yeah. So, WWE, bring back managers.
Amen.
I mean, your product's already over the top. It's not going to make it silly. It's just going to make it better.
Mm-hmm.
Bring back managers.
Yeah, I feel like it would enhance their storytelling a lot. I mean, just look at what they've done with Paul Heyman and the role that he's played in the Bloodline story.
Critical role, yeah.
Critical role. I mean, so they know what to do with them if they have them, so why not have them, you know?
Mm-hmm. I agree. So, Kay, I think that's our show. So we had fun, we talked, we cursed some, I cursed some.
Mm-hmm.
We laughed a little, we laughed a lot. We cried a little inside.
Did we?
I did.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
About Roman Reigns and the Bloodline being so boring?
A little.
Yeah. So when can they hear from us next?
You hear from us next Wednesday when we do This Week in AEW. There's our weekly show. And then you'll hear...
Which we do on Tuesday.
We do it on Tuesday. This Week in AEW, every Tuesday.
Yeah.
And then you'll hear from us on Saturday, which usually we do WWE Weekly on Saturdays.
And that will return to normal this Saturday.
Yes, and listen, we are going to be doing more retro Halloween Havoc watch-alongs. Mm-hmm. They will be happening soon. Watch for us on Twitter at No Bones Wrestling. That's at No Bones, RASSLIN. And just watch for the announcements. And on Twitter, make sure to follow us there. Make sure to check us out on YouTube. We put our podcasts on there. We have videos on there as well. We're going to be doing more videos, more and more videos on YouTube.
It's also where you can catch our last Halloween Havoc watch along if you missed it.
Yeah, you can do the watch along yourself. You watch about 10 minutes in. We do a countdown where we start Halloween Havoc 94. So all you have to do is find where we started and start Halloween Havoc 94 yourself, and you'll be in sync with us, and you can watch it whenever you want. And it was a lot of fun, and hopefully you'll join us for the next one. I don't know what year it'll be, but it'll be another retro Halloween Havoc. Won't be one of the NXT ones. It'll be one of the WCW ones, but I'm not sure which. But folks, yeah, so listen for us Tuesday for This Week in AEW. And for Kay Fabulous, this is Asa saying, have a nice day. Bye.